Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. So today I'm doing something that I don't believe I've ever done before, which is I'm going through every single House race in the United States on the 2026 map completely blank, going through every single state and essentially my first very big deep dive of the 2026 House midterm election. So I'm very excited to do this. Probably going to take a while, so I understand this video may not be for everyone, but for everybody that's really interested in a very informative deep dive of the House elections, hopefully you'll enjoy this video. Okay, so let's start. First, obviously, Democrats and Republicans both start at 0. Our first state, we're going to go alphabetically. We're going to start with the state of Alabama. Now, Alabama, there's only a handful of House districts. This one shouldn't take too long here. Looking at the House elections from 2024, the map has been redrawn since then. The Republicans have redrawn the 2nd district to give them more of a chance of winning here. The Democratic incumbent looks to be more in trouble this time around. We can look also using the PollsMax website. They currently have only Alabama 7 being a safe Democratic win. Alabama 2 is now listed at a lean Republican win at 4.9% in that congressional district. We can pull up the House races as well on here and just get a quick look at what might be going on here. So for the 2nd district, I want to see if there's been any polling done, because on their site this says there hasn't been. For the general, it's likely Republican from a lot of sources, but also a good number of them have it as tilt Republican and toss-up. Only one poll, which shows it at Republican +1. It does come from the Democratic Impact Research polling firm, which is sponsored by the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, which is like their campaign arm trying to get them elected. So in terms of what I think this race means is typically when there's a biased poll like this, I usually account it 4 to 5% to make up for the bias of the poll. So that means the Republicans are probably up around like 5 points right now, 5-6 points in this race. So I would probably start this race out lean Republican or likely Republican. It's right there. I would probably start it out as lean Republican for now. It's right around that edge. I think the PulseMax website kind of nails it in their rankings on that. The 2nd district we know is going to be, the 7th, is going to be safe Democrat. We know that. The rest of the districts, Robert Adelholt, Dale Strongs, Mike Rogers, not the Michigan Mike Rogers, the Alabama Mike Rogers, Gary Palmer, and Barry Moore's open race, which since he obviously ran for U.S. Senate, it looks like he's going to win that race. It's going to be an open race now. Let's see who the representative is going to be for the 1st district. Jerry Carl, the former U.S. representative, is officially the nominee. I think there may have been a runoff. I'm not totally. They got 40.3, 31.1. So I don't know what the runoff was, but probably going to end up winning this race by a safe margin. So 3 minutes into the video, and we already got Alabama done. Republicans are at 6. Democrats are at 1. Alaska, the 1 House district at large. I got a feeling this one won't take too long. We can look at the 2024 election, where it voted for Nick Begich against Democrat Mary Peltola by 2 points, 48.4 to 46.37. Then it had to go to ranked choice voting, where Begich ultimately won. Now, this time around, Peltola is not running for this race. She's running for U.S. Senate. So the House race, the Democratic candidate will likely not be as competitive as Mary Peltola is in this election. So this actually should give the Republicans a little bit of a breather in the House race for Alaska, as it should be an easier time for them in this race. Likely Republican for most of the rankings on the prediction sites. Begich versus Matt Schultz, the Democrat, shows him Begich leading, usually by a likely margin. Actually, all the polls have him leading by a likely margin. Only the Bill Hill poll from Tavern Research, which came out in May, shows it a 4-point race in that one. The House forecast for Alaska for PollsMax, they have the state listed as 11 points, likely Republican for the GOP. And this isn't really too much of a surprise, but for my own rankings, I would put it likely Republican as well. I don't think Begich is going to have a problem winning this race without Peltola in it, even if the Senate race and governor's race are very close, which the Democrats do have the possibility of potentially winning. I still think we're ultimately going to see a win here by Begich of over 5 points, which would put Arizona as likely red. Now, Arizona is the first state that we've come to that does have a few toss-up districts on the 2026 House map, particularly the 7th district with David Schweikert and the 6th district with Juan Cisco Maney. Those two are the main marquee matchups of those races, and both held by Republicans. On the PolsMax site, they actually had the Democrats favored to narrowly win the 1st district by only 0.1%, so a very, very close ranking there. For Juan Cisco Maney, they have him up 1.1% over the Democrat Mendoza in this race. So definitely a very, very close election taking place in the state of Arizona on the House side of things. First, we'll start with the 1st district. We'll go, this is going to be 2 Republicans running in Joseph Chaplick and Jay Feely, who is a CBS Sports analyst and former Cardinals player. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Dave Schweikert, the incumbent representative, is running for governor against Andy Biggs. In a primary, he's probably going to lose relatively handily, so I don't know how that will go. Looks like polling is be pretty close so far in this primary, so we'll have to see how it sorts itself out. On the Democratic side, 4 Democrats are running. Amos Shaw is the only candidate with a Wikipedia page. For the polling, Shaw is leading in the only poll from back in February by a very considerable amount, so we'll see if he ends up being the candidate. For the general, toss-up by most of the rankings, likely D and Lean D from The Economist and VoteHub. VoteHub, I don't know if I've seen them actually factored into these prediction rankings before, so that's interesting to see them on here now. Not much polling to go off of really at all for this race, so it looks like it's going to be a very close race. The PolsMax forecast, they have this race listed 0.1%. For the Democrats, it was a very close race in 2024. It voted for Schweikert by about 3.8%. Back in 2022, it only voted for Schweikert by 0.88%. And this is where things are going to get called into question here. We talk about the national environment. Democrats, 45%. Republicans, 39.7%. That'd be about a 5.3% win for the Democrats at the top of the ticket. And then in 2022, for instance, Republicans won 51.7 to 47.7, so that's about a 4-point win. So with the Democrats on the generic ballot favored by about 5.3%, I think we're going to see at very least Arizona's 1st district be very competitive, but I think the Democrats do pull this out. Now the question will be, do they win it by more than 1 point? Do they win it, say, 2 to 3 points? Do they win it by over 5 points? I think a large contingent of this will be the governor's race with Katie Hobbs versus Andy Biggs. And that could play a very significant role, that if Hobbs is outperforming expectations and winning by, say, more than 5 points, it may be a situation where this race ends up going in the lean Democratic category, if not even higher. So for now, I'm going to put it as lean Democrat, but I think it's definitely a very, very close race that could potentially go tilt Democrat as well. But I'm going to put it in lean Democrat for now because I think it breaks 1 point just by like a hair. Now let's talk about the 6th district. This one's going to be different because the Republican incumbent Juan Cisco Maney is running for re-election. We do know the Democratic candidate presumptively will be Joanna Mendoza. This is a race Republicans need to hold to try and keep the House in 2026. President Trump and Mike Johnson have already endorsed Cisco Maney. They know the importance of this race without a doubt. Joanna Mendoza, already has the endorsement of Morris Sullivan and Patrick Murphy. The senators of Arizona, Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego, and several key U.S. representatives. This is going to be a close race. Toss up again from 3 of the rankings, lean or tilt D from race to the White House and The Economist. There have been 3 polls so far, and this is where things are kind of interesting because, again, 2 Democratic polls which showed Cisco Maney down 2 points, but again, using what I account for, about 4 to 5 points, this would put Cisco Maney up about 2-3% or so. But there's also a Ragnar Research, a Republican poll, which showed Mendoza up by 3. So this would put Mendoza probably up like 8 points if that's the case. Public policy polling, though, a Democratic pollster from back in October showed it a 1-point race. This would be Cisco Maney up like 4. So this is going to be a really close race, and I think truthfully comes down to the wire, and that's to be expected. They voted for Cisco Maney by 2.5% in 2024. Cisco Maney won it by 1.5% in 2022. This is going to be a real, honestly, battleground, I think, in this race, because obviously it's going to be close, but things are really tight. It's a 1.1% Republican on the PolsMax website, and I'm not too far off from that. I'm going to go a little bit lower than that. I think Republicans hold it right now by under 1 point. I think it's going to be a very close race. I think it's one the Democrats, certainly if they're flipping the House, everything's going well for them, Democrats can certainly win this district. I think Cisco Maney running has a very important role for the Republicans here. If he weren't running, I think the Democrats may automatically flip this, given the election environment. But I think Cisco Maney's won 2 tough races before, and I think he'll narrowly hold on and keep this race in Republican hands. So that is the Arizona 6th District. Next, we can look at some of the other districts in the state, which won't be as competitive, but may have some relatively smaller margins of victories. Eli Crane's 2nd District is likely Republican, according to Polls Max. That's always one Democrats hope to flip, but usually they don't come too close to doing it, though a 9.5% victory is kind of getting there, but probably not too competitive. Arizona 5 is solid R. Likely R. Likely Democrat for Stanton out of the 4th District. The 3rd District safe for the Democrats, and the 7th District safe for the Democrats as well, with the 9th District as solid for the Republicans. So not too much really to add or change here for these districts. We'll actually maybe do a little bit more info in the 2nd District, just in case it does get competitive. I'm not totally banking on that happening, to be completely honest with you. I think it looked, was this one likely Democrat? I think it was in the 4th District, and then safe Republican in the 5th. I didn't look at Abe Hamada's district, actually, the 8th one. That was a safe win. That was 2022. It was a likely win in 2024. I feel like it'll be likely this time around as well. Oh, they have it a little bit over. They have it as safe Republican, so that is interesting there. Okay, so that Eli Crane's 2nd District voted in 2024, 9 points for Eli Crane. 2022, he won it by 7.7, so he did improve on his margin. So in the right election environment, could the Democrats win this district? I would say it's possible. I'm not totally sure they will, though, because it's one thing to swing a district like 4% to win it in this election environment. Swinging it close to 9% is going to be pretty difficult. So I think Republicans hold here. Worst case scenario for the Republicans, I think the 2nd District may fall under 5 points, but I think we see it ultimately remain in Republican hands. So now after Arizona, the Republicans have 12, Democrats have 5. Arkansas, there's only 4 districts in the state. This one really won't take too long, as all of them are listed as safe for the Republicans in the 4th, 3rd, 1st, and 2nd districts here. I'm not going to delve too much on Arkansas. It's one of the most Republican states in the country. The House map is the same. Not really too much sense there. California is going to take a while because there's a lot of districts here. First things first in California, we're going to go over the state or the districts that are, I'll say, safe Republican because there's a lot fewer of them. We know that the 23rd district will be safe red, the 20th district will be safe red, and the 40th district will be safe red. So let's just go through here and put these in here. What did I say? It was 23rd, I believe. 23 and 20. Okay, because the map is now drawn a little wonky. I might have to zoom in to get the 40th district. I don't want to, but I might have to. Okay, no, I can get it. Okay, so these 3 districts are all going to be safe Republican. We know that for sure. Now, the 5th district is likely Republican between Republican incumbent McClintock. This map has been redrawn to the California map. It's not going to line up exactly with the 2024 results, where the Democrats got 43 House seats, Republicans got 9. It's not going to add up because it's a completely different map where a lot of these things have been redrawn and drawn out differently. So I'm banking more on the Polls Max prediction site than I am for the election results for the new California map. But they have some very close races. They have David Valadao in the California 22, which they have listed as lean Republican. They have California 5, likely Republican, and they have California 48, lean Democrat. I do agree with California 5 being likely Republican. I'm not totally on board with David Valadao's race being lean Republican because it's a district that it definitely got more competitive. It's going to go from a 6.8% win from 2024, but then in 2022 he only won this race by 3 points in the more Republican district. So it's going to be interesting because I could definitely see him narrowly pulling out the victory, but I'm expecting the governor's race to be like a 22 point win or so, maybe even more for the Democrat Becerra over Steve Hilton. I actually think this is one where I disagree. I think we see David Valadao lose this race, but he loses it by under 1 point, sort of similar to the Adam Gray race from 2024. So I put that one that way. The competitive races here, California 45 with Derek Tran, very close last time. This time around, though, I think it'll be a little bit, now it's been redrawn to be more Democratic friendly. I think we see Tran win here by a more solid margin. You know what, maybe I might have to zoom in here. I can get it, okay. Okay, so that one is there. In the Darrell Issa, California 48, I think that was the redrawn district here. Now a 2.9% win for the Democrats. I think it does stay under 5 points in that one in California 48. But I think we'll see it ultimately go for the Democrats by probably around 4 points is where I would have it in my rankings. But I think we will see that happen. Valdeo's race we covered. Adam Gray, they now have it listed as solid Democrats, so you should have a strong chance of winning. And then California 1 with McGuire versus Gallagher is right around that edge of being a likely or a safe Democratic seat now that it's been redrawn. I think the rest of this map here, after having going through it, I think the rest of these districts all go safe for the Democrats. Again, California's got a ton of these seats, so I'm not going to spend too much time here going through it because it would take a very, very long time, even though we're already doing a very long time on the video. But the rest of these states or these districts in California, I think are going to go pretty reliably safe for the Democrats. I'm going to start just filling these in now because this video may end up being over an hour long, but even still, got to speed it up a little bit here. So move into the Los Angeles area. These seats are all going to be safe for the Democrats, and it is crazy looking at this, just how many people live in the Los Angeles area. Like, look at all these House districts. It's crazy. But filling these in the way that we think they are going to go here. And with that, I think that's all the House seats in California. So going alphabetically, California made a very big dent in the Republicans' lead. They're led like by 8 seats or something. Now after California, Democrats have 53, Republicans have 20. Next, we'll go to the state of Colorado. Colorado was probably going to feel like a breeze compared to California in terms of how many races they have. There's a handful of close races I'm watching here. And first, we'll look at the 2024 House results here because it had one of the closest House races in the country in the 8th District with Republican Gabe Evans defeating the Democrat, I think it was Yavira Caravea, 48.95%, 48.22%. This is automatically one of the closest races to watch in a automatic toss-up or flip watch for the Democrats as Evans won by 0.73%, getting under 49% of the vote, not even breaking 50% in 2024. Without a doubt, this race probably is one of the more likely races that'll flip to the Democrats, but you're also looking at a few of the Republican seats in Colorado as well. Jeff Hurd's Colorado 3, Colorado 5 with Jeff Crank, and then Colorado 4 with Lauren Boebert, I think are all more expected to stay Republican, but the Democrats, if they play their cards right, may be able to win at least one of these races. So it's going to be interesting to see here. Colorado 3 is listed at 4.4% for Jeff Hurd. The 5th District likely Republican at 5.6% for the GOP, and likely Republican for Colorado 4 with Lauren Boebert in this race. Colorado 8, tilt Democrat Routenell defeating Evans by only 0.4%. So it's actually based on the Polls Max website and their predictions. It's actually a lot closer than you may even expect, or certainly more than I would expect anyway. Let's take a look first at the 8th District. This is the one I feel like is going to get the most attention. Gabe Evans, Manny Routenell, we know these are the two candidates. The primaries happened for Colorado last week. So that's where things stand now. For the general election, toss-up across the board. No current polling data between Evans and Routenell yet, so we're kind of flying blind. But Manny Routenell defeats Shannon Byrd, who I thought Shannon Byrd may have been the favorite for a while heading into this race. Yeah, the polling was pretty tight, actually. Maybe not. The final poll from GBAO, which supported Routenell, ended up being a 13-point lead. So even still, he had the lead in that one. But the primary settled. I mean, this is going to be a very close race, no doubt. They have it under 1 point Democratic. And I think it's definitely... I'm teetering between putting it as tilt Democrat and lean Democrat. And the difference I'm looking at here is like a margin of like going from like 0.8% to like 1.3%. I think it's going to be very close. But it was so close last time. And in an election environment where Democrats are winning the national vote by like 5 points, I think we'll see the 8th District narrowly break 1 point. So I'm going to put the 8th District as lean for the Democrats as one of the first flips for them. We could also put the 2nd District, the 7th District, and the 1st District as in the 6th as well. These are all going to be safe Democratic wins, especially in this election environment. If they were safe blue in 2024, we know they're going to be safe blue in 2026 as well. And I think there may have been, I could be wrong, there may be There may be some talk of redrawing the congressional map for 2028. I'm not totally sure, but you can definitely fact check me on that. But I think that may be a possibility. I think Lauren Boebert's 4th district. Oh, that's my phone. Sorry. Even the 4th district. Oh, I took a screenshot. Okay. Technical problems. On the 4th district with Lauren Boebert, even though Boebert, I would argue, is the weakest of the 3 Republican incumbents, maybe even weaker than Gabe Evans, probably the weakest Republican incumbent in the state of Colorado, her district is still pretty decently reliably red, and it's projected to go 6.2% for Boebert over the Democrat Laubacher. I think it's probably like 5.2, so not too much of a difference, but I would still nearly put it as likely R, but you're getting into that category of Boebert maybe being in trouble, just given the type of candidate that she is. The 5th district with Jeff Crank, though, I do agree. I think it's going to be pretty reliably red. Although they have it at 5.6%, but it was pretty red in 2024, 13.8%. I think this one might be a little bit of a shock when it swings. It doesn't swing too much. Now, the 3rd district with Boebert was 0.17% in 2022, and it was under 5 points in 2024. So the 3rd district is definitely a sleeper for a race that could potentially flip. I don't know if we ultimately see it go Democratic. It's possible. It's the right election environment for it. The governor's race is happening as well, so it's possible the 3rd district could flip. I'm still thinking it goes around like a 1.5 to 2 point Republican win, but it's definitely the 3rd race is definitely on flip watch, I would say, for the Democrats and Republicans. So that's Colorado. That's how I have the map. Connecticut, this one also won't take too long. Pretty much all these states or all these districts in the state are going to be safe Democrat. The only difference was the 5th district was likely Democrat in 2024. In the rematch of the 2022 race, I do believe, where Hayes defeated the Republican Logan by 0.8%. It goes up to 6.8% though in 2024. We're probably going to see a pretty more reliable Democratic win. I don't know if Hayes is running again. I don't know if the Republican is running again that made this race close. So for this election environment, I think we see the Democrats win all of the Connecticut House races, and they win them all safe. Delaware at large, Sarah McBride. This is going to be a safe Democratic win for her. No surprise here. 15.7% win in 2024. It'll be a safe Democratic win once again, as Delaware always is. Now, Florida is going to be interesting because Florida's map has also been redrawn, just like California and Texas, which we're going to get to, has also been redrawn. So Florida, there's been a lot of movement here. And again, we're not going to be able to air too much on these districts from the House map in 2024 because, again, it's been redrawn here. But, like, Florida 1 when Matt Gaetz was safe red, Florida 2 was safe red. These things are probably going to continue to remain that way. But for the House forecast, we'll start with the Panhandle and we'll work our way towards Central Florida. Florida 1, 2, and 3 are all listed, and 4 are all listed as safe for the Republicans. And I really don't have any reason to disagree with that as well. I think they all will remain that way. Florida 5, let's see here. Selection simulator, sorry. Florida 5 is likely Republican at 13.4%. I think that one probably falls under 15 points. Randy Fine's seat could also be interesting because obviously we know the special election where he underperformed expectations there. I'm actually going to put it as likely Republican. I don't know if Fine breaks that 15% mark in the 6th district. Certainly, a lot of his pro-Israel stances have made him unpopular among not only just Democrats, but some Republicans as well. So that could be a potential race to watch fall under that 15-point margin. Now, Corey Mills' seat is going to be very close. 2.4% lean Republican. It's a race that really shouldn't be too competitive. I think it may have gotten even less Republican in the newly map redrawn. And Mills already this cycle so far has been kind of underperforming a lot of the polling data. And I'll show that up here in Florida's 7th district because this is an interesting race. So he has the endorsement already, Corey Mills. It's likely Republican for most of the rankings. The only poll from back in May shows the Democrat up 2 points. But again, using the biased counting that I used, which is like 4 to 5%, you're still looking around a lean Republican win in this race. So even though most of the rankings are likely Republican, I actually am more inclined to have it be lean Republican because I think Corey Mills I think he'll end up winning, but it may kind of be a situation of like, whoa, how did Republicans how do we let this race get that close? I think that might be a situation in that race. Okay, so that is the 7th district. Now we can look at Maxwell Frost's district. The 10th saw a Democrat even on the newly redrawn map, there should be a safe Democratic win near Orlando. No surprise there. Florida, we do 15, 11, and 8. I feel like they're all pretty similar for the rankings here. Let's see. 11 safe, 15 is safe, and 8 is safe. Yeah, so they're all pretty similar. I don't want to go too much detail on these. We got a lot of competitive ones to talk about as well. Florida 12 with the Republican Bill Rackus, right outside that 15-point margin at 18.5, but I think we'll ultimately see it go safe for the Republicans. I'm going to come back to Anna Paulina Luna's district, and I want to talk about this one a little bit more. It's going to be very interesting. The 18th district with Scott Franklin. I think this one may have gotten a little bit less Republican in the redraw, but it is still listed as safe Republican, so we'll have that one go as safe R. The 9th district we might leave for now because I want to talk about that one a little bit more. The 16th district is looking like to be likely Republican, but the 17th and the 19th are going to be safe for the GOP, so we can put these as safe red. Oh, sorry, I messed the cursor up there. Let's see, down in Miami and outside of Miami, we have the 28th district as safe red as well. Okay, so before we start moving into the Miami area and the Palm Beach area, let's finish up with Central Florida, and we'll head to the west coast of Florida as well with the Tampa area, with St. Pete and Clearwater as well. Anna Paulina Luna's district, now that it's been redrawn, though, it has been redrawn, but it still seems to be pretty reliable red at likely Republican at 9.4%. Looking on the map here, it looks like they have obviously a lot of St. Pete and Clearwater in it, but it looks like downtown St. Pete, which I think is the more Democratic area of St. Pete, it seems to be redrawn into the different districts. So looking like St. Pete essentially kind of got split between the 16th district and the 13th district to kind of solidify and make them both more Republican. So I think the map is pretty spot on. The predictions are spot on here. I think Paulina Luna in the 13th and Vern Buchanan in the 16th. He's retiring, but I think both of these districts will go likely red. Kathy Castor's Florida 14th district is going to be important to watch. It's been redrawn to give the Republicans a better chance of winning now. It's currently listed as only tilt Democratic at 0.4% for Castor over the Republicans. And it's going to be a really close race, though, because she is an incumbent in a redrawn district, but it's a district that's been going for her for a very long time. The Republican nominee is still TBD. There's a lot of Republicans running in this race, so we're going to have to see how it plays out here. As for the general election, lean Republican flip from 3 of the rankings, toss-up from race to the White House, lean Democrat for The Economist. It's going to be super, super close. Either way, I'm having it under 1 point. I'm torn because I think the governor's race with Byron Donalds, if he wins the primary against David Jolly, could be a little bit more competitive than expected. But Florida, it bucked the trends in 2022, getting more red. It got even more red in 2024. I think we see it even with the redrawn map continue to get a little bit more red. I think Republicans pull out a narrow flip in the 14th district, but I'm not 100% sold on that one being a Republican flip, but I think for now it ultimately ends up being that way. Florida 9 with Darren Soto is looked at as likely Republican in this race. This is one of the districts that got redrawn into the Republican direction as well. So this one, it could fall under 5 points in the 9th district here. We're not too far away, so we can pull this one up as well. The Republicans still a good number of candidates running. Primaries haven't taken place yet, but likely Republican from a lot of the rankings. I think we could probably put this one. It may fall under 5 points, but I think we can put it in likely Republican for now. Brian Mast's Mass Florida 21 is now listed just a hair under 15 points at likely Republican. This race got a little bit less red to account for the Republican gains. So for instance, like the 9th district. So we can put 21 as likely R. So we only have one Democratic seat on the House map so far, obviously by design by the Republicans to do that. But now we come to Florida 22, which is going to be arguably the closest House race in the entire state. It's currently listed as tilt Republican for the GOP, plus 0.4 in Florida 22 here. This is going to be Democrat. The seat was held by Democrat Lois Frankel. Now there's 2 Democrats in the race. Lois Frankel actually dropped out of the race and now running in the 23rd district. As for the Republican primary, again, a handful of Republicans are running. For the general, lean Republican from 3 of the rankings, toss-up from 2 of them. It's kind of like the Florida district or the Tampa district as well. I'm very close. I do have it nearly as tilt Republican, but I could definitely see it going for the Democrats as well. Florida, 26th. Likely Republican, 15-point or so win projected for the incumbent. I think that's pretty spot on here. Now we get into the Miami area with the 23rd, 25th, 20th, 24th, and 27th districts here. For the, 27th, Maria Salazar is favored to win here by 8.6%. Don't really have too much to disagree with there, so I'd put it as likely R. Florida 24 with Frederica Wilson in this newly redrawn district. It's still listed as solid Democrat, though, so we can put it as safe for the Democrats. Let's see if there's any other safe here. There's the Florida 23rd district with Lois Frankel running in this race. Now, obviously, a lot more Democratic friendly. It's going to be a safe Democratic win, so we can add that in here. Now we have Florida 25 and Florida 20 as the two competitive toss-up races now in this category. We might need to zoom in even more on these districts because they're so kind of tiny to see here. So Florida 25, this is the Jared Moskowitz race. This is going to be very close. Oh, Florida 20, this is Debbie Wasserman Schultz, This one will not be too competitive, so we can put that as safe R. But the Jared Moskowitz race in the 25th district is going to be very close. It's currently listed on the House forecast at Republican plus 2.6. And this is definitely one we're going to want to look at the potential polling if there's been any, because this could be a very important race to keep an eye out for. Okay, let's go to the general. Toss-up to tilt lean Democrat from a lot of the rankings here. For Larkin and Moskowitz against the Republican candidates, all very close races, but the Democrats in the Beacon Insights poll for Moskowitz versus Singer. Very close race, but one that Moskowitz is narrowly leading. It's a poll sponsored by Moskowitz's campaign, though. So only a 1-point lead is not really great, to be honest, for the Democrat Jared Moskowitz. I'm assuming Moskowitz wins the primary as the current incumbent of another district. I could be wrong, but I assume he pulls out the win here. We'll have to wait and see on the Republican primary how it plays out. I don't know if there's been any polling for the primary yet, or I don't even know if President Trump's made an endorsement in this race yet. So still TBD on the Republican side, but this is a close race. This is going to be a very close race. Moskowitz, we know he's a very strong election overperformer. I think the Republicans win it right now by under 1 point, but this could certainly be one that the Democrats flip as well. So it looks like, based on the current predictions, the Republicans redraw Florida. Definitely seems to be giving them some benefit and doing some good for them. Republicans are at 47. Democrats are at 68. Next, we have the state of Georgia. Georgia, from an election standpoint, is relatively pretty easy because a lot of the districts are already kind of either safe Republican or safe Democrat based on the way they're drawn. The second district is safe Democrat. The 6th, 5th, 4th, and 13th surrounding Atlanta are all safe for the Democrats. Then all the surrounding House seats are all safe for the Republicans. So Georgia, we're not going to spend too much time on, as again, these ones that are all safe blue will continue to remain safe blue. I think I said the 13th district was safe blue as well, I do believe. It was safe blue in the 13th, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. I just want to make sure I'm getting this completely accurate. I do believe that looks right. And then for the Republicans, safe red, safe red, safe red. A few retiring incumbents like Mike Collins and Buddy Carter both ran for Senate, so those seats are up. But the Georgia map is pretty spot on. There was talk about this maybe getting redrawn for 2028 as well by Brian Kemp and the Republicans, but I don't believe that's going anywhere. Depends also if who wins the governor's race. If the Democrat Keisha Lance Bottoms defeats Rick Jackson, there may be a Democratic potential redraw of Georgia as well if there's enough votes. So important stakes for Georgia in 2026. Hawaii, 2 congressional districts here. This is going to take like 5 seconds. Both of these districts are safe Democratic. Hawaii, one of the more Democratic states in the United States. First district was a 43-point win for the Democrats in 2024, 36-point win in 2024 for the Democrats in the second district. So no surprise, Hawaii's 2 districts go safe. Next, we have the state of Idaho, 2 Republican districts here. Kind of like Hawaii, no surprise, they're both going to be safe for the Republicans. 2024, the forecast, here, both districts are very safe, reliably red. They both voted in 2024 by safe margins for the Republicans, so no surprise, Idaho's 2 districts go safe R. Illinois, you may be familiar with, is one of the more like wonkier drawn states in terms of their congressional districts. They have like these little like snake like squiggle line districts, but from an election standpoint, they're actually pretty simple because there's not too many Republican ones. There's 14 Democrats, 3 Republicans on the map here. There's a few likely Democratic ones from 2024, but for the House forecasts in Illinois, they only have 3, I think it is, for the Republicans in the 16th district, 15th, and 12th. So, again, not really going to take too much time here. 16 stays red, 15 stays red, and 12 stays red. Given the election environment, the rest of them should all be pretty close to being safe Democrat. The only one that's not here is Illinois 14, which is literally 15-point margin of victory. So, for me, the rest of the House races in Illinois all honestly would go 15 points or more for the Democrats. So I'd put them all as safe for the Democrats as well. We can go in here and assign them as such. So after Illinois, Democrats are at 89, Republicans are at 61. Indiana also is kind of similar. There's a handful of Democratic seats in the 7th district with Andre Carson will be a safe Democratic win. Frank Mervan's the only district that's like competitive in Indiana. Republicans were hoping to redraw the map, President Trump specifically, to try and make this race more competitive, but Republicans failed to do so. It's a likely Democratic ranking for Frank Mervan on the PolsMax website. The 2024 results in Indiana showed a decently competitive race, but still about an 8.5% win for Mervan. I don't know if it breaks 15%, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but that one will go likely for the Democrats, no doubt. The rest of the seats, though, in Indiana, there's not really too much to talk about, kind of like a lot of these other Republican states. They're all pretty reliably red. This race, though, in the 5th district with Victoria Sparks is Republican plus 17.5. So there is potential it may fall under 15 points if any of these House races are going to. They're all like 20 points or 30 points Republican or more, except for this one. So if we're going to see a district that falls into likely Republican, it may be this one. But for now, I think we see all these districts continue to go safe for the Republicans. So now we have Iowa. Iowa is quickly becoming probably my favorite state to talk about for the 2026 midterms because each of the House races, the 4th district we can get out of the way, Randy Feenstra, it's a open race. Feenstra is not running for re-election. He ran for governor and actually lost the primary, believe it or not, even though he had Trump's endorsement. So Iowa, it's going to be Republican McGowan versus the Democrat Dawson, but it's a very reliably safe district. We know it's going to go over 15 points for the GOP. The 2nd district, 1st district, and 3rd district, though, are legitimate, like can go either way type of districts. It's really interesting. We're going to start with the second one because this is Ashley Hinson's district, who she is now running for U.S. Senate to replace Joni Ernst as the Republican in a very close race. A Republican, Joe Mitchell, won this primary, and he's defeat the Democrat James by 8.6% in this race, despite some polling in Iowa that I do believe actually showed this race to be pretty competitive. And I'm going to pull the Iowa one up because I think we're going to want this for at least the 1st and the 3rd district. But Joe Mitchell, Lindsey James for the general. Predictions have it lean Republican, so not as bullish as the likely Republican ranking here. Only poll from April from Public Policy Polling, which is the Democratic poll sponsoring James's campaign, has James up 3. So really Mitchell for me would be up around 2 points, which would be a lean Republican win. Still though, a ton of undecided vote. And I can't stress this enough, not as like a cop-out for the Republicans, but Iowa polling has always kind of been a little bit weird. Like even going back, remember in the 2014 midterm, one of the first elections I watched, the polling was off by a bit, showing that Joni Ernst may lose, and then she ended up winning by over 5 points. So Iowa polling is always a little bit weird, but Rob Sand at the top of the ticket as the Democratic candidate for governor, he has a real chance at winning that race. Essentially, it's a 50-50 race for me right now against Zach Land. So it's possible this race, when everything is said and done, falls under 5 points. I think we're going to see it narrowly go over 5, though, like 5.5% for the Republican Joe Mitchell in the 2nd district. Now, the 1st and the 3rd districts are certainly ones Democrats could potentially flip, though. The 1st district with Marinette Miller Meeks facing Christina Bohannon in a rematch of the 2024 race, where I kid you not, this was one of the closest races in 2024. Miller Meeks only winning by 0.19% of the vote. In an exact rematch, going to be an incredibly, incredibly close race this time around once again. The predictions for this race are all across the board, toss-up as they should be. Miller Meeks versus Bohannon, only poll from that public policy polling, shows Bohannon up 4 points over Miller Meeks, again accounting for that bias. We're looking at either a tied race or Miller Meeks up by 1 point. But with Rob Sand at the top of the ticket, a candidate that I think is going to be very strong, may even potentially win that governor's race, I think this is the election where it's super close, but we finally see the Democrats narrowly win the first district, I think for the first time, I want to say since 2018 or maybe 2020. I think we're going to see this district finally flip, though, to the Democrats, and Marinette Miller Meeks narrowly goes down by under 1 point. In the third district, Zach Nunn reportedly wanted to run, I think it was for governor, but President Trump convinced him to run for re-election to the House, and honestly, probably for the Republicans, thank God that Trump did that, because it's currently only listed at tilt Republican for Nunn over the Democrat Tron Garrett in this race in Iowa 3. It voted for Nunn in 2024 by 3.8%, and you're looking, again, 3.8% win in 2024, where the election right now is 5.3% on the generic ballot for the Democrats. You're looking at the third district is like right around that edge of being a potential flip for the Democrats on the House map. So this is going to be a very, very close one. The Democrats, Sarah Tron Garrett and Zach Nunn, that's the matchup for the general election. Different rankings here. Toss-up, tilt R, toss-up, tilt Democrat. The only poll from a Republican pollster, Ragnar Research, shows Nunn at 48, Garrett at 42, a 6-point lead. Again, accounting for the bias of the poll, you're probably looking at like a 1 to 2 point lead for Zach Nunn right now, just based off of that poll. Now for the Democrat candidate before, Jennifer Conforst, 44-44 tie. This one's going to be tight. It's going to be really tight. And this is one I think after Election Day, we're going to be looking at saying, well, how did this party win? I think it's going to be under 1 point again. I'm a little bit more on, I think Zach Nunn has a better chance of winning than Marinette Miller Meeks does, so I'm going to put it as tilt Republican, but gotta be honest, I'm not super confident in that one. I think the third district certainly can go to the Democrats when everything is said and done. Kansas, there's only one district that's going to be Democratic, and Kansas is going to be Sheriff David's third district. It's likely Democrat, 14.9% margin of victory, but since the map, the Republicans failed to redraw it, I think we're going to see it go over 15 points for her. Now, the rest of the races in Kansas are all pretty solid Republican. So the second district, there's a potential with Derek Schmidt that he may fall under 15 points when everything is said and done, but I think Republicans will hold these districts, though, by a pretty safe Republican margin. Democrats now at 93, Republicans are at 74. Kentucky doesn't have too many close races. The only one that's kind of competitive is the open Andy Barr race with Ralph Alivardo now winning the Republican primary. It's currently listed at Republican plus 10.7 on the Polls Max site. For the 2024 election, when Barr was running, he won it by about 26 points, but now with Barr not in the race, it's expected to be more competitive, but I think it still remains likely red. The Democratic Louisville district for Morgan McGarvey will remain safe blue. The rest of these seats will all remain safe red, including Al Galrine defeating Thomas Massey as well, will all remain safe red. Louisiana, there's been some movement as the map did get redrawn in the state to get rid of one of the Democratic seats here. This was the 6th district, now listed as solid Republican, against the Democratic incumbent Fields. This was a solidly safe Democratic seat. Now, though, it looks like it's going to be a safe Republican seat. The 2nd district, though, should still be a safe win for Democrat Troy Carter. Bad news for the Democrats, though, is across the rest of the state, all these districts are all pretty reliably safe Republican, though, outside of that one. So, no surprise, Louisiana, the rest of these districts will all go safe for the GOP. 95 for the Democrats, 84 for the Republicans. Next, we're going to go to the state of Maine. Maine has 2 congressional districts, the 2nd district and the 1st district. We know that the 1st district with Shelley Pingree is going to be a safe Democratic win, as this is always a reliably safe blue district. I voted for Pingree by 22.3%. And if you're curious, if you know that name, it is the sorry, my phone keeps going off. It is the mother of the candidate for governor, Hannah Pingree, who won the Democratic primary. So the 1st district, we know, will be safe Democrat. The 2nd district is going to be more close. Democrat Jared Golden, who won by under 1 point in 2024, is not running for re-election, so it's an open race. Now, the Republicans have landed a candidate that Democrats certainly don't like, but is someone that has a long track record in Maine politics, the former governor Paul LePage, who is projected to beat Democrat Matthew Dunlap by 3 points in this district. It's a district that voted for Trump, I think, by 9 points in 2024. So it's certainly going to be less red in 2026 than it was in 2024. And it's one I'm definitely curious to see the polling for this race. But the second district, definitely Dunlap versus LePage. Going to be close, but one that I think we can agree LePage is favored in. Coefficient Republican poll has LePage up 10, so probably around like a 5-point lead for LePage. University of New Hampshire poll from February only showed LePage up by 1 point, though, with still 6% of voters undecided. I honestly, I don't know if Dunlap would have been as strong as Joe Baldacci to be the Democratic candidate, to be honest. I think Republicans kind of got lucky a little bit here. So I'm going to put it as lean Republican for Paul LePage. This is a flip for the GOP, one that the Democrats probably don't want to see, but I think we see Republicans pull out a narrow victory in Maine second. In Maryland, Maryland's also pretty easy as well. There's one safe Republican seat in the first district for Andy Harris. The rest of these districts are all going to be safe for the Democrats. Maryland also had some talk of redrawing their House map, but for 2026, they have not done so. So the rest of these seats we can fill in here. This will put the Democrats up to 103. Republicans are at 86. Massachusetts also is not going to take too much time either. Despite, again, I think it's like 40% of the vote voting for Trump in 2024. Massachusetts, one of the most Democratic states in the country, all the House races in the state all are going to be going safe for the Democrat. The closest one competitive-wise is the 9th district. This is a lot of Cape Cod and heading into like south of Boston, this district here along the Cape Coast. This is going to be a little bit closer to 15 points, but all of these seats in Massachusetts should be safe for the Democrats over 15 points. No surprise here, but that is going to be how it goes. Democrats up to 112, Republicans at 86. Now, Michigan's going to have a handful of competitive races, including some very close endangered incumbents in Michigan 7 with Tom Barrett, John James's open seat in Michigan 10, Bill Huizenga's Michigan 4 is becoming very competitive as well as time has gone on. So let's talk about some of these districts. Let's start with the 7th, where Tom Barrett ended up defeating the Democrat in 2024 by 1.1, or is projected to win by 1.1%. He defeated the Democratic candidate in that race, I think by like 3.7%. Yeah, 3.7% for Barrett in 2024. So sort of similar to that Zach Nunn district. It's right around that edge of potentially going for the Democrats in this race. In terms of 2026, where things will ultimately go, I showed you the Polls Max rankings. They have it listed for the Democrats, or for the Republicans by 1.1%. In the 7th, I'm a little bit more not totally sure here, because Michigan's probably going to go for the Democratic governor's race, Jocelyn Benson. She's sort of an election overperformer, and that may help the Democrats down ballot. It's toss-up for most of their rankings. Lean Democrat from 2 of them. Tom Barrett versus Bridget Brink shows it as a 1-point lead, actually, for Tom Barrett. Barrett versus William Lawrence shows it a 2-point lead for Lawrence, and Barrett versus Mazadam shows it as a 1-point lead. So these polling rankings would suggest, actually, that given that they're Democratic polls, that Barrett should probably do pretty well. Though it is significant, he's only getting 46 and 47% of the vote here in a district that in 2024, he got 50.28%. So if he's going down a few percentage points, it may open up the door for the Democrats to win in this area. The Democratic primary is super close to watch for as well, as I think this is another case of like a Bernie Sanders AOC endorsed candidate in William Lawrence. AOC has not endorsed him, actually, but Bernie Sanders has. And then Bridget Brink could be looked at as like the consensus Democratic establishment candidate. So going to be a very close race here. In terms of the general, it's funny. I was leaning more towards giving it tilt Democrat, but I think Tom Barrett may hold it by under 1 point right now. The polling seems to give the Republicans a slight edge at this current time, but I think the Democrats... I think the Democrats can win this race. I think the Republicans just right now are narrowly favored. Next, we'll go to the 10th district. This is the John James one, where he's not running for re-election, as he is going to be the Republican candidate for governor, it's looking like. Democratic side, there are 3 Democrats running in Eric Chung, Tim Grimal, and Christina Hines. For the general election, I don't think, the primary's not taking place yet. For the general, a little bit of a mixed bag here. Lean Republican, tilt Republican from 2, likely Democrat, tilt Democrat from 2, and then toss-up. It's a really early race to tell for sure. The primary is going to play a large role here. The 2 Republican victories and a Democratic internal poll. I think we're going to narrowly see this race stay as lean Republican, but again, really, really close to see what's going to happen in the 10th. And then we have Bill Huizenga in the 4th district, which I think is going to be very important to talk about as well. Oh, I forgot to show the polls, Max. Oh, and they have it a 5-point Republican win, likely are. Huizenga, they have 5 points as well. Huizenga is going to be facing off against either Democrat Diop Harris or Sean McCann, but this should be a close race, closer than usual. Lean Republican from all the rankings across the board. A Democratic internal poll shows McCann up 3 points, so again, probably like a 2-point lead for Huizenga in that poll. A Republican poll had Huizenga up 6, which again, counting for the bias, would be like a 1 to 2 point poll. And the public policy polling from November had Huizenga up 2. So yeah, I think this one's going to be close. I think it's right around that 2-point margin of victory. I would put Huizenga as a lean Republican win as of right now. But these are 3 very close districts that if the Democrats are flipping the House, they're probably looking to get at least one of these. It's possible they could get all 3, but I think at least the 7th district is probably the one that's most likely to flip to the Democrats. Though, if there is significant turnout in the Michigan area, in the Michigan suburbs, in the governor's race, it's possible that John James 10th district might flip for the Democrats, and they might be able to win that one. In terms of some of the other House races across the state of Michigan to look for, the 5th district should be safe red, the 2nd should be safe red, and the 1st district should be safe red, so we can go ahead and fill these in just while we're talking about them. Not going to be too much of a surprise here. The 3rd district with Hillary Schulten listed as likely Democrat, right around 15 points, though. I think that one probably breaks 15% when all the votes are in. Rivet is looking to be very competitive in this race, a 2.6% projected margin of victory. It voted, though, for the Democrat by 6.6% in 2024, so unless there's a really good candidate running I don't know about, I'm not totally sure why they would have this race under a 5-point margin of victory. Likely to lean Democrat for the general. The Republican candidate, not really super well-known candidate other than Amir Hassan. Yeah, I'd probably put this race as likely Democrat for now. I'm not really too in agreement on the lean Democratic ranking. The 3rd district, I think, would go safe Democrat. The 9th district with Liza McClain is currently projected to be solid Republican win, a safe over 15-point win for the GOP. And then heading into the Detroit area and its surrounding suburbs as well here, pretty much all going to be over 15 points safe for the Democrats according to the rankings, and I don't have any disagreements on that. So that's Michigan. Democrats up to 118, Republicans are at 93. Minnesota, there's actually, despite the map looking pretty big, there's only a few handful of districts here, and a lot of them we already kind of know how they're going to go. We know the 7th and the 6th district are going to be safe for the Republicans, so we can put these states or these districts in here. I keep saying states, I mean districts. I don't know why I keep doing that. The 3rd, the 5th, and the 4th are all going to be safe for the Democrats in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. Angie Craig's district, the 2nd district, she's running for U.S. Senate, so it's an open race, though it's projected right now to be a likely Democratic win around 10 points against the Republican Pratt. Again, I don't know if it's the right election environment for this race to be really competitive. I think we're going to see it go likely for the Democrats. We can look, Angie Craig won it in 2024 by about 13.5%. So I think the margin of victory might be a little bit smaller because she's not the incumbent. It's an open race, but I think we'll still probably see it be pretty reliably blue. The 1st district currently projected to be a 10-point Republican win, even though in 2024 it voted about 17 points for the Republican incumbent. But yeah, I do think in a more blue election environment it falls under 15. And then the 8th district with Pete Stauber, I think it's probably going to be something similar, where it's about a 10-point Republican projected win on that race. It was a 16-point win in 2024. I think, again, we'll probably see it go likely R as well. So that's Minnesota. Mississippi, a one safe Democratic seat in the 2nd district with Benny Thompson. Republicans, I think, looked at redrawing Mississippi, but I do believe ultimately failed to do so. So that seat will remain safe blue. The rest of these states, or these districts in Mississippi, will remain safe for the Republicans. So not really a surprise. In Mississippi, the districts go the way as expected. The state of Missouri had a district redrawn. The 5th district went to Emmanuel Cleaver. It was a safe Democratic district. Now it's currently projected to be a likely Republican district at R plus 6.6. on the new map. It's possible it falls under 5 points. Cleaver is running for re-election in this race, but Missouri, typically a more reliably red state overall. I think we'll see it continue to go for the Republicans, as likely are. The safe Democratic seat, though, with Wesley Bell in the 1st District, this will be a safe Democratic win. This may be the only Democratic win on the map, though, for the Democrats, as the rest of these seats all continue to be right around that safe point Republican margin. It's possible you may see Bob Onder and Wagner seats fall under 15%. Those could be potential things to keep an eye out for, but I think we'll see them all go reliably Republican. Montana, there's 2 House races up in Troy Downing and Ryan Zink's race. The Sam Forstag race, I do believe, is the 1st District. That's the one I'm more keeping an eye on. The 2nd District with Troy Downing will probably be a safe Republican win, so not too much to talk about there. But the 1st District should be very close. Ryan Zink, the incumbent, is retiring. It's currently listed as lean Republican for the Republican candidate Aaron Flint against the AOC-backed candidate Sam Forstag, who I think is a former, was it firefighter or like fire plane, like the people who drop like the water out of the planes, the firefighters who like suppress wildfires and stuff. He's a very intriguing candidate for this district in Montana 1. Currently forecasted at Republican plus 2.5. The district overall voted in 2024, though, for the Republican Ryan Zink about 7.7%. So again, counting for that shift towards the Democrats in the midterm environment, certainly going to be a close race. I think lean Republican, I honestly agree with that ranking, but Montana's 1st is going to be a very interesting race to keep an eye out for. We can take a look in Montana's polling as well while we're here, because, I mean, how often do we talk about Montana at the top of these videos for like these competitive races? Forstag, Aaron Flint, candidates. Let's see the polling for the general election here. Predictions: likely Republican to tilt R. Only polling from 2 Democratic pollsters, Impact Research, showed it tied race. That would suggest more like a 5-point probably lead for Flint over Forstag. Upswing Research from back in April to May showed Flint up by 5. So it couldn't even be a likely Republican win, but I kind of think Sam Forstag is going to be a strong candidate, so I'm leaving it in lean Republican for now. Nebraska, there are going to be 3 races here. The 2nd District with Don Bacon's seat is going to be the most competitive one to talk about in the state. The 3rd District will be safe Republican for the incumbent Republican Smith. No surprise there. Adrian Smith wins there. Mike Flood, this district, currently forecasted around 11.1%. Given the election results from 2024, but this district trended more blue at the presidential level. It was still a 20-point win, though, on the House side of things. This is one I kind of breaking with their forecast. I think it's going to go safe Republican, actually, a little bit more, maybe like 15.5%. I think it stays a little bit over in that safe column. Now, for the 2nd District with Mike Flood, or the 2nd District with Don Bacon, this is an open race. This is one the Democrats are looking to flip. It's currently lean Democrat for Cindy Powell. I do believe it is 2.5% over the Republican Harding. Now that we know that Don Bacon is retiring, Bacon is more of like, I wouldn't call him a liberal Republican, but certainly not the most like pro-Trump Republican. And that actually I think gives him a lot of advantages in this Omaha suburban district. Brett Lindstrom, who's kind of in that same mold, dropped out of the race. If he were the nominee, maybe the Republicans have a better chance maybe at holding it, but it's lean Democrat for most of these rankings. No polling yet between Brinker Harding and Denise Powell, but I think, it's not Cindy Powell, sorry, Denise. But Harding-Powell should be a close race, but I think one where the Democrats, now that Bacon is not running, have the advantage and will flip the 2nd District blue. Next, we're going to go to the state of Nevada. Nevada is a little bit more locked in as well when the Democrats redrew their map following the 2020 census. They essentially locked in the 2nd District as being pretty much a safe, reliable seat, and they redrew Las Vegas to pretty much lock up 3 Democratic seats for them. There is one competitive one in the 3rd District we can talk about, but the 4th District is likely blue, the 1st District is likely blue, and the 2nd District is likely R. And I really don't have too much deviation here. These have been my consensus rankings for months on these seats as well. The 3rd District with Susie Lee is going to be interesting, where Susie Lee will be facing off against their Trump-backed Republican candidate, Marty O'Donnell, who, fun fact, is the composer of the Halo video games, which obviously I grew up playing, so that's very interesting to see him as the Republican candidate. Lean Democrat across the rankings here, except for Rachel Whitehouse, who has it likely. No polling yet. Their House forecast, though, as I mentioned, has it 2.9. And I think we're going to see something right around this. It's interesting because in 2024 it was a 2.7% win. In 2022 it was a 4-point win. So I think given the election environment, it would make more sense that it should be a little bit more Democratic margin of victory than 2.7%. So I'm going to say around a 3.5 to 4-point Democratic win in the third, but I think the Democrats do hold there in Nevada. New Hampshire, only 2 House districts in the second and the first. Maggie Goodlander's second district, she defeated the Republican candidate Lily Tang Williams by 6 points in 2024. It went for Annie Kuster, the Democratic incumbent, before in 2022, though by 11.7%. This is a House district, the second district, that's pretty even. Actually, you may be a little surprised how even it is, considering it always seems to vote for the Democrats by over 5 points. But Maggie Goodlander won last time around. Yeah, they're both districts now are Democrat +2. Fun fact, the first district with Chris Pappas used to be even in Trump's first term. I think even maybe Republican +1. But for the second district, I definitely think that Maggie Goodlander is favored in this race to win and win the Democratic primary as well. Likely Democrat across the board. The only polling, actually, there's been a good amount of polls from St. Anselm College and University of New Hampshire as well. So a decent amount of polling here. They're showing what's that, 19-point lead for Goodlander over Tang Williams. So could Goodlander break 15 points? It's possible, definitely could. A 12-point lead for St. Anselm College from back in March for Goodlander over Tang Williams. I still think it stays under 15 points though. I think we probably see this could be where Goodlander serves this seat for a while. Maybe she tries to run for Senate if Maggie Hassan retires in 2 years, but I think we're going to see the seat continue to be likely Democrat like it has been. The first district with Chris Pappas, this race is kind of interesting because we see a very competitive race underway on the Democratic side. Maura Sullivan and Stephanie Shaheen, the daughter of Jean Shaheen, are in a very close fight in the polling. Shaheen has, been the leader in every poll so far. The Republican side, none super notable Republicans are running in terms of like Caroline Leavitt's not running again or anything like that, but Holly Novoletsky, Anthony DiLorenzo, Brian Cole, Melissa Bailey are the 4 main Republican candidates. The polling that I've seen shows very close races, but Holly Novoletsky and Anthony DiLorenzo seem to be in a sort of a 2-person race here to be the Republican candidate after Holly Novoletsky's primary in 2024 was also very close. So that's going to be an interesting race to keep an eye out for. In terms of the general election rankings, though, likely to lean Democrat depending on the rankings here. Chris Pappas, who's now running for U.S. Senate, he's won this race by 8 points every single time except for 2020, where he won it by 5.1. So it's been a likely Democratic win every single time. Now, part of this could just be that Pappas is that uniquely qualified, talented candidate that does very well. But if Shaheen ends up being the candidate, Shaheen obviously is a very popular name in New Hampshire politics, so I don't know if we're going to see this race fall under 5 points either, with a Shaheen at the top of the ticket. So I think we're going to end up seeing this race go likely Democrat as well. Next, we'll go to the state of New Jersey. New Jersey, all eyes on the state are going to be on the 7th district with Republican Representative Tom Keene. Obviously, his absence from the Congress drew a lot of attention in the spring and the summer. It's currently forecasted to tilt Democratic flip for the Democrat. I think it's Rebecca Bennett it is. This is going to be a very important race to keep an eye out for, without a doubt. Very, very important race. Tom Keene won his race the first time in 2022 as part of that midterm where the Republicans took back the House, and this is definitely going to be a very close race. For the predictions, toss up to tilt Democrat in this race. The only poll from Z2A Research, which is I think it's a Democratic supporting poll, but not of that candidate, had Rebecca Bennett over Keene about 4 points. It's going to be very close. Very, very close, no doubt. It went for Keene by 5.4%, so kind of like the Zach Nunn race. It's right around that margin. Cory Booker will be at the top of the ticket in the Senate race as well, so he's probably going to win by a very large amount. That may draw out more Democratic votes as well. Look, it's going to be very close. I don't think Tom Keene is 100% going to lose for sure. I think there's a possibility he pulls this out. But I do think right now we see it right around a 1-point victory for the Democrat Rebecca Bennett defeating Tom Keene. But going to be close. Definitely going to be close. And then New Jersey, I'm going to have to zoom in a little here on New Jersey. A lot of these districts are going to be safe blue and safe red. New York 11, Malatakis will be safe red, and the 4th district will be safe red. So we can go in here and put these districts in here. Chris Smith. Was it Chris Smith? I said it was going to be safe red. That's weird. Yeah, okay, so my thing like kind of glitched up. The 4th district, we'll do the 4th district first. That one be safe red. We're looking for... Funny, why can't I find... I can't find the... Oh! I got it. Nicole Malatakis isn't in New Jersey. She's in New York. Okay. All right, so it's just, yeah, it just looks similar. That's the Staten Island district. Okay, I see. All right, so then we have Jeff Van Drew's district, likely Republican right now is the forecast. Yeah, I don't really disagree. I don't think it's going to flip to the Democrats, but I don't think it's going to be a super Republican win either. In terms of the closed Democratic races, there really aren't too many. Likely Democrat for Analiha Meha in the 11th, and Jersey 9 for Nellie Poo. I honestly think the Meha one is the only one that falls under 15 right now. I think the other ones, like I think the Nellie Poo one goes over 15 points in those election environments. We can fill these all in. After New Jersey, and with Tom Keene's seat flipping, Democrats are up to 140, Republicans are at 114. New Mexico, the 3rd district and the 1st district, these are going to be safe for the Democrats. And the 2nd district is going to be the one to talk about. Let me zoom out a little bit more. These are going to be, 17 points for the Democrats, but the same in the 3rd. No surprise here, these districts go safe blue. The 2nd district, Gabriel Vasquez is going to be more competitive. It's currently listed as likely Democrat at 8.6% for Vasquez over Cunningham. The only reason I'm talking about this race being competitive was in 2024, it won for Vasquez by 4.2%, but in 2022, it was a 0.7% win for Vasquez over then incumbent Yvette Harrell. So, does it break 5% of the vote margin of victory in 2026? Yeah, I think it does. I would definitely agree with the ranking of likely Democrat, but has the potential to be competitive as we saw it was in 2022. The 2026 is not the right election environment for that to be the case, but there is the potential the 2nd district could potentially be competitive. In fact, let's just pull up really quickly New Mexico just to see if there's been any polling in this race yet. I don't know if there has been. There's been one poll for Vasquez versus Cunningham, a Republican poll showing the Democrat up about 2 points. So again, probably looking like a 7-point win, accounting for the bias of that poll. So that's honestly pretty good news for the Democratic incumbent in that race. In New York, there's going to be a lot of districts. The first one to talk about in terms of flip watch, without a doubt, is Michael Lawler's 17th district, Mike Lawler. This district was very close in 2024. It voted for Lawler by 6.3%. So kind of like the Tom Keene race, you're right around that edge of being a potential flip watch for the Democrats there. The Democrats had a very good night in 2024 where they flipped 3 Republican seats in New York 19, New York 3, and New York 4 by narrow margins. Republicans, I'm sure, would love to flip them back, but I think the Democrats are more likely to hold those. And they also flipped New York 22 by pretty sizable margins as well. So Lawler is representing the 17th district without a doubt. Going to have to pull New York up here because this is going to be a very important race, so we have to keep an eye out for. Okay, Mike Lawler will be facing off against Democrat Kate Conley in the general election. Predictions toss-up from 3, lean Republican from Sabato Crystal Ball. No current polling data for the House forecast for the 17th district. Let's see what they have it right now. They actually have it listed as lean Democrat for Conley over Mike Lawler. So very close race. I think the governor's race actually may play an important role here as well. Lee Zeldin winning, or not winning, but having a very close race in 2022 definitely helped a lot of Republicans like Lawler win their races in 2022. If the race is close between Blakeman and Hochul, it's possible we may see this race stay red, but Conley versus Lawler in this election environment, 2.5%, I think it's going to be close. It may even fall under 1 point, but I think we may see Lawler go down like 1.5% is where I currently have it. So I'd put that one as lean Democrat as well. The rest of these, Riley is projected to win by 2.9%. Despite, I think I showed here, he won by 2.2% in 2024 against the Republican incumbent, Tom Malinaro. So it's going to be interesting seeing it be lean Democrat, considering the election environment. The 19th district, I'm a little bit... It just doesn't really track too much against Peter Oberacker. So maybe Oberacker's a good candidate. State Senator from the 51st district could be... Or Mark Molinaro, could be a just good candidate. Lean Democrat from a lot of the rankings. Yeah, they all have it lean Democrat. So I'll leave it as lean Democrat for now, the 19th, but I wouldn't be too shocked if it goes above 5% when everything is said and done. Let's see. We have the Mannion District, New York 22. 14.9%. Again, I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see it break 15% of the vote. Paul Tonko's district would go safe blue. Elise Stefanik's district is going to be interesting. It's currently listed likely Republican, 10.4% margin of victory for the GOP there. Stefanik won it by 24 points, though, so that's a lot closer this time around than it was last time. I do still think we see Republicans hold on to it, though, and I think likely Republican makes a lot of sense, but Democrats, I'm sure, would love to win that upper New York district for sure. Let's see. Any other super close races in upstate New York I'm missing? I don't think so. In more Long Island and hanging to here, likely Democratic across these. Lean Republican, it looks like, out of Nick LaLauda's New York 1 district, so that could be a close one to watch for as well. Yeah, we can take a look at the New York 1 for Nick LaLauda while we're over there. Democrat Chris Gallant will be the candidate. General election prediction, solid to likely Republican from a lot of these rankings. Only poll from back in December showed a Republican lead of 3 points, probably around like an 8-point Republican lead. So yeah, so let's just start doing it. I think this one goes lean likely. I'm going to say like 4.5%. I'm going to say a lean Republican win. Andrew Garbano's race, 9.7% Republican win. We'll put that one as likely Republican. Not really too much disagreements there. We'll go into New York City itself because these districts, Nicole Malatakis' district will probably be safe Republican even in this election environment. It should be a pretty safe, reliable GOP win. And then inner city, these two districts will both be likely Democrats. We can just fill those in while we're over here. And Laura Gillen and Tom Susie, I think it is. Yeah, okay. So those are good. And then the rest of these in inner city New York are all going to be safe for the Democrats. There's no surprise here, including AOC's district going up here as well. George Latimer in the 16th district. I do believe Latimer's district is safe for the Democrat. I don't think it's going to be too competitive. No, it won't be. Okay, now we can look at the 23rd district and the 24th. Should both be safe Republicans. We can fill these in here. And then the 25th should be safe blue for Joseph Morrill. The 26th should be safe blue for Tim Kennedy. The 18th with Pat Ryan. Once upon a time, this race was competitive. Now, though, 15-point Democratic win, safe Democratic victory there. So after New York, Democrats are at 163, Republicans are at 120. We're slowly getting through it. Over an hour in the video, but we're getting through it. North Carolina is going to be a very important state to watch for the Senate race, obviously, but the House races. Two close races watching. Chuck Edwards, North Carolina 11, and Don Davis in North Carolina 1 are the two marquee races that I am watching in this state. Let's take a look first at the Don Davis race. Republicans redrew the map to make this more competitive in 2024. Under the prior redraw, it went for Davis by 1.7%, so a very close race. But it's going to be a more Republican-favored map in a more Democratic-favored election. So it's going to be interesting to see, push comes to shove, kind of what happens there. Republican candidate Lori Buckhout won the Republican primary. As for the general, lean Republican flip right now from 3 out of the 4 rankings, toss up from race to the White House. The current polling, a Democratic poll from June 22nd, so not actually too long ago, showed Davis up by about 1 point over Buckhout, with a Libertarian getting 8% of the vote and Tom Bailey. If the Independent is getting 8% of the vote, that certainly is going to play a very significant role where the Republican may not be able to win if that actually happens. I think it's going to be very close, but because Roy Cooper at the top of the ticket may be enough to bail Don Davis out in this district that's going to be a little bit more Republican friendly. Polls Max, let's see, they have the district currently listed for the Democrats, lean Democrat. Yeah, I don't disagree. I have it lean Democrat right now too. I don't disagree. I think Don Davis, maybe in 2028, depending on how polls are looking for the Republicans, he might lose this race, but I think in 2026 with Roy Cooper and a Trump midterm, I think he may be able to hold on. The 11th district with Chuck Edwards, this is a race that shouldn't be really too competitive, but it is definitely competitive. Chuck Edwards, in a lot of the early polling I've seen, has not been doing too strongly. Democrat Jamie Ager is the Democratic candidate for the general election. lean Republican to toss up for most of the rankings. The only poll from Impact Research shows Ager up by 1, so probably like a 4 to 5 point lead for Chuck Edwards. But this is a district that voted for Edwards about 13.5%. So being under 5 points is honestly a pretty troubling sign for the Republicans. Likely Republican for Edwards, 5.2%. On the polls max side, I'm putting this race as lean Republican. I think it falls under 5 points. I think it gives the Republicans a pretty good scare in this race. The rest of these districts, the 5th is going to be safe red, the 10th safe red, and the 6th safe red. Not really too much of a surprise here, so we can go in and put these districts in here. Did I say Tim Moore's 14th district was safe red as well? I don't know if I did. No, it's likely red in that one, so you can put that one as likely Republican. Oh, the 6th district should have been safe red, I think it was, yeah. 12th district with Alma Adams. This will be a safe Democratic seat. Let's see. Mark Harris's seat should be safe for the Republicans. Okay, we have the 9th district, likely are out of the 13th, likely are out of the 7th, and likely are out of the 3rd. I think honestly, I don't really have too much disagreements on these ones. These aren't the marquee ones I've been really paying attention to, so no disagreements there. The 2 Democratic seats in the 4th and the 2nd should all be pretty reliable, safe Democratic seats as well. Yeah, both safe Democrat by a mile. No surprises there. And yeah, that's North Carolina. Democrats are at 167. Republicans are at 130. North Dakota at large, not much time needed here. This will be a safe safe Republican win. Safe Democratic win would be funny. Safe Republican win, 39-point win in 2024. No surprises there. Ohio Republicans were hoping to redraw the map, and the map has been redrawn, but not as Republican-friendly as they were hoping. So now the toss-up races, you're looking at Ohio 1 with Greg Landsman, Ohio 9 with Marcy Kaptur, Ohio 13 with Amelia Sykes is not really going to be a toss-up now. The map has been redrawn. I'd put her more as likely Democrat, even coming near safe Democrat on the polls max site now. So Amelia Sykes, I don't think is really going to be in trouble of losing that race. Now, Marcy Kaptur legitimately could be. It's currently listed as lean Democrat on the site in the rematch of Derek Marin versus Marcy Kaptur once again. But this is a very close race from 2024 that we may end up seeing be very, very close once again. So let's see here. A rematch of Kaptur versus Marin. The early polling data and predictions for this race. Toss-up, tilt Republican, tilt Democrat. One poll from McLaughlin Associates, a Republican poll, shows Marin up by 4. So probably looking at like a Kaptur lead of like 1 point. So very close race, but I think one that also we're going to see the election environment sort of trumps that factor, and I think we see Kaptur hold on and win by like 1.5 to 2%. So a little bit closer than the polls max ranking, but I think we see that one go that way. Greg Landsman in the 1st district, he's going to be in a newly drawn district that will be more competitive against Republican Eric Conroy, but it's listed lean to likely Democrat from most of the rankings. No polling data yet. Polls max has it listed as about 2.9%. For the Democrat, funny, I would have these two flipped. I would have like a near 5 point win for Landsman in the 1st, and like a 2.5 point win for Kaptur in the 3rd or in the 9th. We'll see obviously how it plays out, but I would have these flipped, but that's okay. I think the 1st goes lean Democrat as well. Maybe it's possible. It's possible maybe it even goes above 5 points, but I think we're going to see it stay under 5 for now. Ohio, the rest of the map is kind of interesting on the newly drawn one because there's a few districts that may be likely Republican. I don't know if they're going to be lean, but like Max Miller's Ohio 7 could be more competitive. The 15th district could be close. The 8th could be close. The 10th could be close. 8th as well. Let's talk about the Ohio 7th actually, because Max Miller's race is becoming a little bit more of a closely competitive one kind of out of nowhere. Max Miller's facing off against Brian Poindexter in this race. Likely Republican from all the rankings. The only poll I've seen is this Democratic poll showing it a 1 point race for the Democrat, and the Democratic poll sponsored by his campaign. So we're probably looking like a 6 point lead for Max Miller. So right around that edge of being under 5. I think we see it say under, or I think we see it say 5 points or more, only by a little bit, but I think we'll see that. Davidson's, Turner's, and Kerry's 15th, I think will all remain likely for the Republicans as the predictions show. Taylor's safe 2nd district should be safe red, as well as the 12th and the 6th. All of these should remain safe for the GOP. No really surprises there. The 3rd district, the Democrat Joyce Betty should win by a safe margin. The remainder of these districts, safe red out of Jim Jordan's 4th and 5th for Latta. So again, not really any surprises there. This should go safe for the GOP. Then you have Chantal Brown's safe Cuyahoga district in the 11th. The 14th district with David Bryce, right around being a safe or likely seat, could fall under 15. I think it goes safe R for now, though. Okay, Democrats at 172, Republicans at 141. Let's go to the state of Oklahoma. Oklahoma, this should not take too long. I do believe all these races are listed as safe for the Republicans, and yes, indeed, they are. So no surprises here. Oklahoma seats all go safe for the GOP. This puts GOP up to 146. Oregon, again, not really too much to talk about here. There's only one district I think that's usually competitive. The rest of these should all be pretty reliable Democrats. The 2nd district is going to be stalled Republican or safe Republican here. And then the 5th district, which is now Bynum, could be the more competitive of these races, but it's currently Democrat plus 10 in this race. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I think it goes likely blue. And then the rest of these in the 1st, 6th, 4th, and 3rd, I all have going as safe for the Democrats. Pennsylvania essentially is ground zero for both the Democrats and Republicans' chances at winning back the House. There are very close districts to watch for in the 8th district, 7th district, 1st district, and 10th district. These are very close ones to watch for and could be an indicator on how the night is going, especially for the Republican chances of holding the House if these all flip to the Democrats. Let's start with the 1st district with Brian Fitzpatrick, because this one's a little bit more of a late ad here. It's not the most likely to flip of the 4, so that's why it's more of like a late ad. But Fitzpatrick, he'll be the Republican nominee. He'll be facing off against the Democratic candidate Bob Harvey. For the predictions, is listed likely in lean Republican and toss-up. Only poll from a Democratic polling group shows Fitzpatrick up about 6 points. So that actually should worry Democrats a good bit that it's like that Republican is leaning by that much. But only a handful of polls, though. For the forecast in Pennsylvania, might need to zoom out a little bit for Pennsylvania on this one. Maybe we can zoom back in. Fitzpatrick currently leading by 2.7%. It's going to be a close race this time around. The election environment's going to be big. Josh Shapiro defeating Stacey Garrity in the governor's race by over 15 points would certainly help the Democrats' chances here. I do think we see Fitzpatrick narrowly hold on, though, and win by a lean Republican margin. But this isn't the one Democrats need to win, but it's one I think Democrats potentially can win. So that's going to play an important role. The 7th district with Ryan McKenzie, this one I think is one the Democrats may potentially win. McKenzie won his first term in 2024 by I think only 1 point. Bob Brooks, the Democratic candidate, general election prediction toss-up across the board. Currently no polling data. The House forecast has this race as tilt Democrat for Brooks over McKenzie. I mean, it was just super close. It voted for McKenzie by 1 point in 2024 against the incumbent. It voted for Wild by 2. I just think this is a situation where the Republican can win, but he's running in an election where Josh Shapiro is going to essentially like sweep across the state. I think we see it go for the Democrat by like 1.5 to 2%. So I'm going to give the 7th to the Democrats. Rob Bresnahan in Pennsylvania 8. So I don't have to go too far to look at another close race. Rob Bresnahan, Paige Cognetti is going to be a close race as well. Toss up to tilt Republican, lean Republican rankings. Lake Research, a Democratic pollster from June, has Cognetti up by 2. So this would probably be like a Republican lead of Bresnahan, like +3 right now. Impact Research has her up 1, so that'd be like a Republican +4. And the public policy poll from August last year, same thing, 2 point, be like a Republican +3. So the polling, if you account for the bias here, has been pretty consistent that Bresnahan is a slight favorite over Cognetti in this race. But again, I think it's a situation, PolsMax only has him up 0.3%. I think it's a situation where the election environment might just be a little bit too strong for the Democrats in Pennsylvania. I think Bresnahan goes down by under 1 point in that race. Scott Perry in Pennsylvania 10 is listed as tilt Republican as well, Republican plus 0.5. And this is one that I'm going to show you the election results in just one moment. I did not want to go out of Pennsylvania yet. This one has gotten progressively closer and closer over the last few elections. Janelle Stelson will be the Democratic candidate. Toss up from all the rankings. Normington Pet's Democratic poll shows Stelson up about 6 points. Public policy polling, about a 4-point lead. And then public policy polling from back in July of 2025, both of these 2025, showed Stelson up by similar amounts. accounting for the bias here, you're probably looking like around a tied race in this very close district. It voted in 2024 by only 1.3% for Perry, after it voted for him by 7 points in 2022. And it was against Janelle Stelson as well, so it's a rematch in a more blue environment. I think this one goes very close. 1.13 or 1.3% obviously is a lot less you need to win than some of these other races, but even less so than the 1st and the 6th district. Whether or not the margin of victory breaks 1% for the Democrat is going to be kind of TBD. I actually think it kind of surprises that it won't, but I think it goes tilt Democrat. So I think of the 4 toss-ups in Pennsylvania, I think the Democrats are going to win 3 of them. And I think Josh Shapiro winning the governor's race by over 15 is going to play a very large role in why the Democrats do so. Across the rest of the state, there really aren't too many other like toss-up seats in the state, all really surrounding Philadelphia and the suburbs around there should all continue to go safe Democrat as they typically would. The margins may be stronger with Shapiro again at the top of the ticket, though. The 17th district out near Pittsburgh, maybe more Democrats solidified, 14.9, 13.1. Again, I think with Shapiro doing strongly at the top of the ticket will drive turnout in these areas. As for the Republican districts, I think that's pretty much it for the Democratic ones. I don't know if any other ones are going to fall under 15 points as of right now. I think the rest, even with Shapiro, should still remain relatively safe for the Republicans. So that's where I have Pennsylvania going. 187 for the Democrats, 154 for the Republicans. Rhode Island, only 2 House seats, but they're both going to be safe for the Democrats. Fun fact, though, Rhode Island did have a very close House race not too long ago. In 2022 it was. Democrat Seth Magaziner defeated Republican Alan Fung only by 3.7%. So maybe if Fung ran again, it'd be closer, but definitely I don't believe he's running. So safe seats out of Rhode Island. South Carolina, James Clyburn's 6th district will continue to be a safe Democratic seat as Republicans tried to redraw the map but failed ultimately to do so. That will be safe. Nancy Mace's former seat with Honeycutt in the 1st district, 11.4%. On Pollsmax, that one will go likely Republican, but the rest of these seats in South Carolina should all go safe for the Republicans, so not really too much of a problem there. South Dakota at large, Dusty Johnson, even though it's an open race because he's running for governor, I think he may have lost the runoff as well in that governor, but South Dakota's district at large should be safe for the GOP. Tennessee, the map has been redrawn. The Democratic district with Steve Cohen is now been redrawn to being a lot more Republican friendly. Out of Tennessee, this race is now listed as likely Republican, so I will sign it likely Republican because I do believe ultimately that is where I would have it. The 5th district with Andy Ogle seems to be actually a little bit competitive, despite in 2024 it was, the map got redrawn, so it got more, or it got less Republican, so it could be a situation where the newly redrawn map, they suffered in some areas, the Republicans, to make this 9th district more competitive, but likely Republican for the 5th district with Andy Ogles. The rest of these districts are all going to be safe for the Republicans, though, so we can assign the 5th as likely. The 8th is safe. Matt Van Epps' seat, which that was a fun live stream to do last year. The rest of these are all safe red. Next, before we head into Texas, Democrats have 190, Republicans have 170. Texas is going to be, there's a lot of seats up in Texas, so this is going to take a while, but there's a lot of really important ones to talk about. Democrats 190, Republicans 170, only 75 seats to go, but a large chunk of those are going to come from the state of Texas. First things first for Texas, we got to talk about the really close ones in southern Texas, because these are going to kind of make or break where things are going right now. Even though, despite getting redrawn to give the Republicans more of a chance here, Herrera's up by 2.4%, Brandon Herrera in Texas 23, but Henry Cuellar is up 3.5% in Texas 28, Texas 35, 2.2% for Garcia, and Texas 34 is currently lead Democrat for Gonzalez over Mayra Flores. And then in Texas 15, only tilt Republican for Monica De La Cruz. I don't know what else to say other than the Republicans redrew the map in Texas to try and make it a lot more guaranteed Republican flips, and kind of seems to be really biting them right now, because it doesn't seem like these races are going to go all for the Republicans. In fact, I think the 23rd district will go for the Republicans. I think Henry Cuellar may even win by over 5 points. I think we see a close win for the Democrats in the 15th district of Monica De La Cruz's seat. And then I think we see the 34th go lean Democrat in the Caesar race as well. I think we're going to go see for the Democrats as well. So it's going to be It's going to be an interesting race, but I think these are currently trending the Democrats' way, and I think James Talarico and Ken Paxton being such a close race. Yes, the governor's race for Greg Abbott should be a pretty reliable red win, but I think down ballot, these ones are actually going to go more for the Democrats than probably Republicans expected when redrawing the seat. Now, lean Republican in Texas 9 for Mueller as a flip on this map. I do agree with that. I do think Texas 9 being a redraw here. Let me see. I might have to zoom into the Houston area to get this one. Yeah. So this is Al Green seat. I do agree with the lean Republican win here and the flip on the map. We can look up here in Texas 3 as well. Solid Republican outside of the Dallas area. And we can go up here as a solid Republican win. Was it Texas 3? I want to make sure I'm getting the numbers right. Texas 32 is what it was. Okay. So, yeah, the Julie Johnson seat. Okay. So, Republicans are now at 173, Democrats 194. Now, we can look at some of these districts in rural Texas that are all solid Republican. No real surprises here, to be honest. Inner city, want to zoom in, not zoom out. Inner city Dallas in the Fort Worth area, like Texas 30 will be safe blue. Texas 33 will be safe blue, so we can fill those in. But no real surprises here other than that, like these districts all being safe red. Not really too much of a surprise here. We could probably just go through really quick. I don't think there's any competitive ones out here that I'm missing. No, it doesn't look like it. Honestly, I might just go through all the safe Democratic seats, add those in since there's less of them, and then go through the safe Republican ones after that because they're all kind of safe red after that. The 37th district with Greg Cesar. This might be in the San Antonio area, it looks like. It is. Yep, that'll be a safe one. The 20th district with Joaquin Castro, I do believe it is. That one's looking to be a safe seat as well. So you can put that one as safe blue. Okay. So it's those two seats are safe Democratic there. And then we have to go to the Houston area as well here. We have a safe Democratic seat in the 18th, the 7th, and the 29th. So 18, 7, and 29 are all looking to be, 18, 7, 29 are all looking to be safe Democratic. And then the rest of the seats on the House map, unless I'm missing any, all are going to be safe Republican. So shouldn't take too long to fill the rest of these in now. We can go more close to the city ones as well if I feel like I'm missing any on the map. I feel like we're okay. Yeah, I think we got them all here. I'm just looking on closely to make sure. I think we got them all. So after Texas now, Democrats are breaking 200 at 201. Republicans are at 196 with only 38 House seats to go. So despite it being an hour and a half in the video, we're getting closer. Utah, first district where Blake Moore has been redrawn to now being a pretty much safe Democratic seat in the, I do believe this is part of the Salt Lake City area. This map has been redrawn, and I am definitely going to have to zoom out more. But yeah, so this district's been redrawn to now being a solid Democratic race for Democrat Ben McAdams, 19.7%. The rest of the districts in Utah, though, the Republicans should win by over 15% in all of these districts. So Republicans net there. Republicans 199, Democrats 202. Democrats are net 1 in Utah. Vermont at large for Becca Ballant in the second term, or Ballant, will be a safe Democratic win. No surprise, Vermont's one of the safest Democratic states in the country. Even though the governor, Phil Scott, is a liberal Republican, Vermont typically votes on the House level as safe Democrat. Virginia is going to be interesting as well. Virginia's got a handful of competitive seats to talk about. The Jen Kagan's race is definitely the, I would say, most competitive one. Obviously, Virginia tried to redraw their House map, and then after the referendum passed, it got struck down by the Supreme Court of Virginia on May 8th, 2026. So now we're back to the regular map, where Jen Kagan's will be facing off against likely Democratic former U.S. Representative Elaine Luria in this race, and one that's expected to be very, very close. Currently, toss-up rankings tilt Democrat from race to the White House. Virginia also is important from an election standpoint as its polls close at, I think it's 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we're going to get some early results out of Virginia on election night. This may be the first indicator of how things are going for the Republicans or for the Democrats. Currently listed at 0.5% in favor of Jen Kagan's, but I kind of think Jen Kagan's is going to go a similar path of like Tom Keene and some of the Republicans in Pennsylvania, where I think it's going to be very close, but I think we're going to see the Democrats do well. I think is it Mark Warner or Tim Kaine? I think it's Mark Warner's up for re-election in 2026. I think he'll do well at the top of that ticket as well. I think we're seeing a close race between Kiggins and Elaine Luria, but one I think the Democrats do narrowly pull off the victory and win there, including we can put Bobby Scott's safe Democratic win as well in there. In the 3rd district in Norfolk. The 1st district where Rob Whitman is typically more of a reliably red seat, but this time it's looking to be very close. Lean Republican right now, 4.7% win for Whitman according to the Polls Max website. This one kind of surprised me that it's looking to be closer, given the election results I'll show in just one moment, but only poll from the public policy polling from August showed Whitman up by 1 in the Democratic poll. So right around that 6-point margin when you account for the biases where I would have it in that one. You can look here in Virginia as well in 2024. Kiggins won by 3.8%. Whitman won by 12.8%. Kiggins being a toss-up that the Democrats may narrowly win doesn't shock me because it's kind of the same as Zach Nunn's race in Iowa 3. So it doesn't really shock me that much. Rob Whitman, though, going from a 12.8% win in 2024, a 13-point win in 2022, down to like a 5-point win, kind of shocks me for 2026, I won't lie. But it's been pretty consistent that's been where it's heading. So I'm putting it in Lean Republican, but that one definitely shocks me a little bit. And that's really kind of it for like the super competitive ones now. Like the 5th district with John McGuire should be likely Republican now that it's back to being the original map, likely Democrat for Vindman in Virginia 7 in these rankings. So yeah, on this current map now that obviously got struck down, the old one, the 5th district probably would have been a flip in the 1st district as well, in addition to the 2nd race. But these ones now back to being kind of where they are. In inner city Virginia, or near Washington, D.C., Virginia as well, in the D.C. suburbs, these are all going to be over 15-point margin of victories as expected here. Not really surprising on this map, but that's where they are. The 9th and the 6th district on this current Virginia map are both going to be safe Republican wins. Again, one of these I think would have been a safe Democratic flip or likely Democratic flip on the old map, but these should be safe red on this one. And then safe Democrat out of Virginia 4 on this map as well. So after Virginia, Republicans break 200 as well, now up to 203, but Democrats are at 210. So with 22 House seats remaining, and it's important to note you have to get 218 to win the majority of the House. Democrats now need 8 seats to get there. Republicans need about 15 with 22 seats left to go. In the state of Washington, a state that typically is a very reliable Democratic state, Democrats are going to get a good number of seats here. The most competitive race to watch is the 3rd district with Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, who she could even be potentially in trouble of a primary challenge from the Democrats as well. I would probably argue that Gluesenkamp Perez may have a better chance of losing the primary than maybe even losing in the general. But we'll have to wait and see, obviously, how it all plays out here. The polling showed John Braun, the Republican, leading at 33, Perez at 24, 14 for Brent Heinrich. For a head-to-head matchup, Braun leading over Gluesenkamp Perez about 7 points. In a poll from April, a Republican poll, that would be like a 2-point lead probably for the Republican once you account for it. Still 26% undecided though. This is where the race really comes down to for me though from Washington, was Perez won by about 3.9% in 2024 against the Republican Joe Kent, and she won by 0.82% in 2022. So it's going to be a more favorable Democratic election environment in 2026 than 2024 was, which I think gives her a leg up. I do think John Braun is probably a better candidate than Joe Kent, though, as Kent seems to be really unliked in the 3rd district. So I think Perez will hold on and win. The forecast for Washington, we can go over here. I bet it's going to be either lean or likely Democrat. I think it's probably lean. Lean Democrat, 1.7%. So they have to be in a very close race. I don't disagree with the lean Democrat. I think it might be like 2.5 to 3%, but I don't disagree that it's lean Democrat. For the rest of the rankings in Washington, though, the 4th district is safe red. The rest of these are all looking to be safe Democrat, and I don't have a disagreement at all on this. This is exactly where I have it as well. So we could add all these up for Washington here. And with that, Democrats, based on where we are right now, still have a few more states to go, but Democrats break that 218 threshold to win the majority in the House. They're now at 219. Republicans are at 204. Now we have West Virginia, 2 House races in the 1st and 2nd district. This should be no surprise. Republicans will win both of these races by a safe margin, over 15 points in both. West Virginia, a very safe, reliable state. No surprise there. Wyoming, we're going to do as well. It's going to be a safe race. We'll put in the Republican category, 207. And we'll finish the video with Wisconsin. Wisconsin, there's going to be a handful of close races. There's going to be the 1st district with Brian Steele, but the 3rd district with Derek Van Orden is the main toss-up that everyone's really paying attention to. Let's see here. Got to go back to the main page. Okay, here we go. Wisconsin, the 3rd district, Derek Van Orden. He'll be facing Rebecca Cook, I do believe, in a rematch. She has to win the primary first, but she should win the primary. And then it'll be a rematch of 2024. Currently a toss-up. FM3 Research Democratic poll from a few weeks ago showed her up by about 4 points. So again, accounting for the bias, you have about a tied race to a 1-point GOP lead. Impact Research from behind that, same thing. Tied to a 1-point GOP lead. Impact Research from back in February, though, showed her probably losing by about 4 points. So even in Impact Research's most recent poll, it's shown it getting better and better for Rebecca Cook. The forecast for this race is a narrow tilt Democratic lead. Oh, it's a tie, technically 50.01% chance for Rebecca Cook to win. I mean, look, I think this may end up being the closest race in all of the United States. 2.7% win for Van Orden over Cook in 2024. It won for Van Orden by 3.7 in 2022. This is the right election environment for the Democrats to win this race. I think it's going to be super, super close. I think Derek Van Orden loses to Rebecca Cook by under 1 point. I even think he may lose by under half a point, under 0.5%, which is a very bold claim for this far out. But I think Rebecca Cook pulls out the victory like 50.2 to 49.8% or something like that. So the 3rd district I would give to Rebecca Cook in this race. The 1st district for Brian Steele is a little bit more Republican friendly than the 3rd district is, so I think he's more likely to hold on and win. There's a handful of Democrats running. It's likely Republican for most of the rankings. About a 9-point lead, though, from Ragnar Research Partners, which would probably, in the Republican poll, probably be less than that. Probably be like a 4 to 5-point win. Currently listed at R plus 9.9 on the prediction side. I think it goes likely Republican. I think more like 6 points is probably where I'd have it, but that's where I'd put the 1st. For the rest of the Wisconsin, the rest shouldn't be too competitive. You have some safe seats in the 2nd district and the 4th district as well for the Democrats. We can put those in here. The 2nd is safe and the 4th is safe. And I forgot that Wisconsin's map only has 2 Democrats on there right now. 3 if you give it Derek Van Orden's seat. That's kind of crazy. That is crazy. Because, I mean, Wisconsin is always a 50-50 state at the voting side, but the rest of these districts, the way they're drawn, are all safe Republicans. So I know Democrats are looking to try to redraw the state, but the rest of the map should go as follows. Based on that, now with Wisconsin done, Wyoming's done, my current full deep dive House prediction for July 2026, going through it, Democrats have 222 House seats, Republicans have 212. So obviously it took a long time. We're close to almost 2 hours on this video. Certainly a big deep dive. It says, I think I might be missing one. Yeah, I think I'm missing one of the House seats, it says. All right, let's scroll through here and see which one that I'm missing. It should pop up right here. Needle in a haystack. Which one of the 435 am I currently missing? Let's see. I feel like it's going to be like a super small one in like California or Texas or something. I don't think I was missing any in Wisconsin, was I? No, Wisconsin looks good. West Virginia looks good. Washington looks good. Virginia's good. Vermont's good. Utah's good. Am I missing one in Texas? Yep, I am. Texas 16 with Veronica. Escobar is where I am missing one. So where in the map is... Now I'm curious. What part of the state am I missing? Houston, Central. I don't see it. I mean, I'm clearly missing it, but it's safe blue. There you go. Now the map is complete. Okay. Yep, we're up to the 435 that we should have. So, okay. Crisis avoided. So now, fully, the deep dive is complete on the 2026 U.S. House map. It's currently very close. It's kind of like a mixed bag here between Democrats winning some, Republicans winning some. But I currently have the Democrats winning 223 House seats, Republicans winning 212 in this very, very close House prediction for 2026. Obviously, we're nearly 2 hours on this video, so this is a very big video, very big deep dive video. If you enjoyed this and you enjoyed watching this video and you watched it all the way through, firstly, thank you very much. I really appreciate you doing that. But I'd really appreciate if you could hit like and subscribe as well, as clearly you're very interested in covering the midterm elections if you're watching all of this video. So I'd appreciate if you hit like and subscribe, as it really helps me and my channel out and grow on YouTube, and I really greatly appreciate if you could do that. For now, though, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you in a future video.